Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello, welcome to the show. Going to get into some amazing amps today. First things first, please subscribe, please click the button and go to That Pedal Show store to pick you up some merch. That's how we fund this show.
Indeed, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, the video is called something like Classic Amps Cranked.
Classic amps up the wazoo.
Exactly that. And to wit, we have a 1956 Fender Bassman.
Just materialised.
I mean, an actual 1956 Fender Bassman. We have a 1961 Vox AC30. And we have a 1974 Marshall Super Bass. So, of course, there's a ton of other amps we could have chosen in those kind of years of 20 years, in fact, of the sort of dawn of loud guitar sounds.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because before the mid-50s, we were dealing with smaller amps. They got big through the mid-50s, into the 60s and 70s, into really big amps. And the sound of rock and roll, all the great stuff that was made cranking amps kind of similar to these. So we've picked three at random.
Indeed.
And we're not going to do too much talking. And we're going to play them.
Yeah.
And we're going to crank them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing we're going to do is use as much as possible era-specific guitars. We don't have all the correct vintage guitars, but we will try and pick guitars that would have been similar to what was around at the time.
Yeah, that's nice.
And then at the end, we'll modern things up a bit and kind of bring it full circle.
Yeah, cool.
So you picked this up from Mike at ATB?
I did. 'Tis for sale. But he very generously loaned it to us for today's proceedings.
I'll just prove that it's for sale.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of new amps you could buy for more than that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it telling us that the vintage amp thing, they're getting into the vintage amp thing, and it wasn't as painful as vintage guitars? So it's a really good point.
Okay, boyo, let's go.
Okay,
we're in the normal channel, as you can see, and the volume is on about 5 currently. And Dan's going to play. I'll turn it up, and we'll see what happens.
okay.
It's flat out.
Wow, okay.
I played Bassmans that are twice as loud as that.
Yeah, okay. cleanup is lovely.
That was the bright. That was a normal channel. Here's the bright channel dimed, just to compare. I mean, I don't think it'll sound that different.
Yeah, a little bit more present.
Starting to hear the speakers on the top.
Yep.
Go a bit. We could just cheat a bit. So this is 1956, this amp. What happened in 1957?
The space shuttle.
Nearly.
The iPhone.
Not quite. iPhone version -71.
Right.
What happened in 1957?
Oh, the gold top Les Paul.
Humbuckers.
Oh, yes, of course.
From both Gretsch and Gibson. I think they say 58 for Gretsch, but anyway. 57, this thing went from P90s, those pickups,
Yeah, okay.
to these pickups.
Yep.
So we'll just hear this briefly before we move along. Where are you? I'm just going to turn it up all the way because that seems to be not. There are some amps, if you turn them up all the way, they're just too much.
Yeah, that's all the way up, right?
It's all the way up.
So normally it'd be going. Listen to how quiet that is.
Yeah, it's. I'm struggling to believe that that's it.
Yeah, okay.
So it was interesting because it's not oppressively loud and it is compressing so much.
Yeah.
It makes me want to play the guitar ugly. Like
ratty.
Hit the guitar too hard.
But also, considering that's all the way up, you can really hear the guitar still. Like, that sounds fat and full, whereas this sounds wiry and, it's really cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Typifies the tweed sound as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, beautiful.
Any more for any more?
Next, back in the room. My beloved, my precious.
Which is?
1961 Vox AC30.
And just for good measure, we have two guitars actually from 1961. A Stratocaster, started looking like this in through 1959, and
this is a Les Paul Junior. Obviously looks like an SG, but in 1961 they were still calling them Les Paul, so that's what we have.
And they became that shape. Dan's going to just explain what's going on here.
Okay.
Here you go, mate. For the good people at home.
1961 copper top, but you see in the back of the amp we have the bass and treble controls are here. How lovely. So in the top boost channel.
That's a modification, is it?
So they came like that from factory.
Did they?
Yeah, but this one was modified to that spec because it was all basically set up for it.
Dan will play in a minute. He just knows how to drive this for a minute. So, okay. Yes?
Okay, yes, sir. Right, so here we have our top boost. say the bass and treble on this are interactive. So that moves, touch a bass and moves everything around.
Sure.
So,
Jake, can you keep an eye on the input gain as we go with this? Because I have a feeling this might be slightly louder than the Bassman.
Yeah.
yeah.
Magic. '61, okay, humbuckers were definitely out by '61. You've got another SG that does have humbuckers.
Yes.
I think we should hear it.
bit long there, but that is amazing.
It's totally killer. I was expecting more of that from the Bassman, to be fair.
Yeah, right.
One thing to pay particular attention to if you want to rewind the video a little bit is listen to the extra overtones and harmonics that are being created by the transformer and probably the speaker as well, but certainly the transformer.
Yeah.
You get these overtones that start to happen. You heard it when he was up the neck there.
It's a magical thing.
We should move on. Okay.
Check that bad boy out.
Big boy time. We've come forward 13 years to a 1974 Marshall Super Bass, 100-watt Super Bass. I won't go over the history of Marshall Plexi amps, but 67, 68, 69 are the ones that are really, really, really revered.
Okay.
And actually, the lovely people at Overdrive Guitars, I'll put a link in the thing, have lent us this. They do actually have a 67 Black Flag in at the moment.
Wow.
Super Bass, which we should have borrowed. Anyway, we didn't. And of course, the Super Lead is probably the amp that gets the most chat because it's the more famous amp. But lots of players like the Super Bass, notably Paul Kossoff, notably Jimmy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not saying they use them all the time, but anyway, the Super Bass holds its own particular place in history.
Right.
So let's see how far we can crank it and see what happens. As you'll hear, using it on just one 412 is a bit sad because the amount of output that this thing kicks out is just too much for that cab. There's 4 25-watt greenbacks, but we'll see where we get to. And we've got another cab on hand because obviously we need it. Dan.
Yes, sir.
If you wouldn't mind. Open season now, 1974. All the important guitars have been invented, so we can use whatever we like.
Actually,
I am glad you've picked that up. Okay, let's see what happens then. Start with everything at 0. The channels are jumped, but we might mess about with that in a minute. How are you enjoying that, Daniel?
I think my balls have dropped. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I've added another cab. It's a 212.
Okay.
In addition to the 412, just to see what now happens.
Okay.
Because we're in series, we're in parallel, so we're 8 ohms, so it should get a bit louder with any luck.
Because that's what we need.
That's what we need.
More volume.
Go for it.
That is crazy.
I was slightly disappointed with the Strat there. It wasn't overdriving more, but that just shows you that is a 100-watt super bass on their clock.
Okay, let's go to...
Yeah, I'll just crank it all the way and
Yeah.
see if I can get it overdriving with the Strat. We'll do full Jimmy.
Yeah, come on. You're at 10 all across the board. 10, 10, 10, 10. Where can you go?
I'm not putting the bass to 10. That would be silly.
Whole new world, a new ecstatic point of view.
That didn't suck, did it? I mean, just for a moment, before we move on, two of those with 4x12s, what the hell were they on?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, all right, the room was a bit bigger. It was a big open field.
Yeah.
Or it's the Albert Hall, you know? That's killer.
It's unbelievable.
It definitely comes awake above half.
Yeah. but it hits you in a very physical way. Like my shirt was flapping, everything was moving, you know.
And the difference in the Lester was astonishing.
Yeah.
All right, to finish this video, what Dan and I are going to do is we're going to pick one amp each and sort of fast forward to the modern age. I mean, it might be a bit of a downer for some of you, but if you were actually going to use one of these amps in today, you know, for your amp, just imagine that. Add a few pedals to try and get the volume down for the gain a bit. How would you use one of these amps?
Okay.
Is the question.
Great. And we're back in the room.
Okay, so the loose premise is choose one of the amps, put together a board that you can kind of go and use tomorrow, either for a small gig or a recording session or something like that, just to bring us back into the real world. I don't think anyone is going to argue with the fact that wound up and singing, these amps are absolutely at their best. But of course, that's not possible.
Very rarely is it possible. Unless you're idols.
Yeah.
Unless you're idols. Come on.
So it's not really possible in the vast majority of modern playing situations. Secondly, it might also not be sound appropriate.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
If you need to cover a wider range of sounds, you heard with the Strat there, even with the plexi cranked, still wasn't an overdrive character that I would use in certain other songs.
It was glorious.
Yeah.
But but you couldn't use that everywhere.
No.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to use it for everything. So Dan has chosen the AC30. Why?
Because it's a sound that just whenever I hear it, whenever I play it, it just gives me the feels. I love it. It's volume appropriate, so I can get that at pretty much any volume. Because I use pedals into it and use it as a clean pedal platform, it just takes pedals so brilliantly without... I don't have to have it cranked to sound amazing.
Yeah.
And then I just look back and look at it and go...
Feel good.
It's just wonderful.
I've chosen the 74 Super Bass because it does a great clean platform.
Yeah,
You've
it's an
heard it does a
amazing clean
fantastic clean platform. I'm also thinking of buying it, so I'm interested in testing this out in the semi-real world. Where have you got the AC30 set? I won't do a detail, I'll just tell you.
Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock.
Okay. So we're in the Brilliant channel and the volume is about there.
Yeah.
More like 11 o'clock actually.
11 o'clock, there you go.
Similar for the Super Bass is barely on. It's below 2.
Right.
For the time being, and we'll see how we get on there. I've chosen a 2x10 cab with Celestion Alnico Golds.
So take us through that, because that's a really interesting choice for a Marshall head.
I wanted a cab that was small.
Yep.
I mean, as brilliant as using 412s is, no ordinary function gig or Mick Taylor Blues Implosion is going to allow a 412.
Fine. Yep.
Just from stage space point of view, and getting it up to a level that's going to work. Wanted an open back cab to make the cleans sing out a bit more.
Okay. Oh, yes, okay.
And then that was the most sensible open back cab that we had available.
And it's a mega sounding cab.
Yeah.
Those golds are wonderful.
210 Celestion Alnico Golds arranged in a sort of diagonal. So we'll see how it goes on the Marshall. The only thing I don't like about it is obvious.
The look.
It looks dumb. So that I wouldn't be very happy with. I'd have to have a cab made that was the right size for the amp. But,
sure.
Because I didn't want to go for a closed back 212 because that's not the sound I want.
Yeah.
I want an open back cab.
Yeah, completely.
All right, Dan, take us through... an appropriate place to start may well be ambience. Because one of the things that none of the 3 amps we've used today have is any kind of reverb.
Sure. So I've got my Echo Fix EFX3 here.
It's down there. We'll have to do a detail. But
yeah, and... it's a tape delay, small box spin reverb, and straight in the front. Because I hadn't played it for a while, the motor shut off. So when I kicked it on, it received signal, and then it's like, so that's why you hear that sort of come back into life. But now it's... without that. I love it.
And you would actually use that?
Oh, every day.
Yeah, I love tape echoes. I wouldn't ever take one on a gig because they always break down.
Okay, but that's the thing of a new one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
And also, I want it small. So a few gigs I did last summer, I used this Reverb, which has got reverb and delay in it. You can set the switches up to either be reverb on and off and delay on and off, or you can have it as delay on and off and tempo, which means the reverb is always on, and that's how I chose
okay, that's cool.
to use it. So with no reverb, you kind of get this. Slightly modulated delay, which you can tap, obviously. Or you can turn the delay off and just have a bit of reverb.
That's really nice.
Overkill, but just to give you an idea, ideal world, digital delay and reverb. I like analog spring reverb, and I like analog delays and tape delays, but for the purposes of little gigs, small board, it really, really did the job.
It sounds amazing.
And because the Marshall's running clean-ish, mostly clean, you can just put it in the front end, no problem, no need for an effects loop.
It's so clean.
And it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's so, like, if you heard that, the last thing that will come to mind is Marshall. It's so clean.
It's sounding nice. As I'm playing, I'm already wanting to turn a boost on because it's just a little bit, could do with a little bit more under the fingers.
Sure. So I've got a couple of modulation things here as well. So the new Diamond Vibrato, I love the old big one. This is the new version, and it's a subtle thing, but I love that bit of movement. It's great. And then, of course, my old Electric Mistress.
Pub test. Dan often talks about the pub test. If he walks past the pub and he hears that guitar sound, he's walking in. I'm in.
Beautiful.
I'm in.
It's a very special thing.
I'm liking it. Okay, I've got one wobbly, which is the Harmonious Monk. I think if I could only have one pedal anywhere, it would be this all the time. I've just become completely addicted to it.
Yeah.
So I am just going to give myself a bit of boost because I just need a little bit of boost. bottom end in that Marshall is insane.
Yeah, but it's amazing how it's translating through the 10-inch speakers. It's absolutely filling this space.
The bass is currently not off. It's on just under 1. But you're right, that
wild.
cab's handling it, isn't it?
Beautifully.
In a really nice way.
Beautifully.
So, yeah, wobbly. Okay, let's get on to Funtown then.
Okay, so I've got 3 gain stages here. I've always said that Hotcake is my favourite overdrive pedal for Voxes. It's just amazing. So it's super responsive. The other thing is when I kick it in with a treble booster, which just sounds ace.
What setting is the Beano boost in?
That.
It's I was going to say, because it's doing
setting.
That on the front end of the note. It's squashing right down, and you're getting like compression
and the reason I do it like that, because the amp isn't completely flat chat, I can also just use that as a boost straight into the amp.
Yeah.
So, and also wind off the volume for a bit of clean.
That was all coming from the Beano.
All from the Beano.
And then pushing the amp into overdrive. That is absolutely killer.
It's amazing, right? It's more aggressive than the Hotcake. The Hotcake, I can do the low gain thing, cleans up beautifully, but I can use the Beano for that more aggressive thing. But then I also have the fuzz, the tone bender, which is just a killer thing.
I tell you what I really love about all of this and the way it's working with that. It is loud, and there's probably function bands you couldn't get away with that much volume, but it's by no means oppressively loud.
No.
It's just pushing the amp into overdrive, and that is limiting the volume, and it's all just working to sort of create a sonorous whole.
Yeah.
Rather than this being this distinctly different, and now I'm stepping on this pedal and everything changes.
Yeah. It just, they work with the amp, and we bang on about this a lot, right? They're not separate. It's a relationship, and it's finding things that work with the amp. If I didn't choose the Vox, if I chose the Bassman, I wouldn't have these gain stages on there.
Yeah, it'd be
you know what I mean?
bunch
It'd be a
of
different thing.
Yeah.
But I know these pedals so well because I know that amp so well. I know what works, and that combination, tone bender style thing, treble booster, and the Hotcake in the AC30 is purely magic. And now that I've been playing that, I'm now thinking that's going to be...
That's what the rig will look like.
That's what the rig is going to have to look like, I think.
It is funny when you're forced to simplify, which is kind of what this is, you go home, don't you? You go to the things that you know.
Yeah, completely.
And that's home.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Killer. Okay, I've got 3 gain stages as well. If I can't decide on a fuzz or an overdrive, I always use the Warthog because it can kind of do both things.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I put this first because I tend to always have the gainiest thing first, so it can get louder when you boost it. Great thing about that is because it's got a master volume on it, if I need like a low volume gain sound for rhythm parts in songs, you can just turn the gain up and turn the volume down and get that. I will just do some with the humbuckers in a minute because it's quite different. Next is a straight boost, which you heard a bit earlier. Now the Argo, I've explained this before in videos, but I use it as a boost like this. What's nice about this is there's something buffery going on.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing a lovely, lovely high end, which I'm not hating through those 10s, which I normally would.
Yeah.
And that's going to really get you heard in a live mix. And if you use that after the Warthog,
nice.
Probably get kicked out.
What did we hit 110 there? Yeah.
Probably get kicked out of the band for that. And the Argo does the other thing, of course, when you bring the blend up, is the octave.
Glorious.
For when you're feeling really naughty.
Yeah.
And then the Halcyon Gold. I hadn't tried this before. We used it in a video a week or so ago. I love Klon type overdrives. This is what that is with a few more features. I love it because it's small, it's got top mounted jacks, and it sounds pretty killer. Like a different version of the boost, which you could get overdrive, you use it after the Warthog, it will be quite a different experience than the Argo. Loads of headroom.
Well, there's so much headroom in that rig. So the way that you set up your gain stages, then amp will just go, come on.
Hello, I'll have more. Yeah, and that might not work in a lower volume environment but that's fine. All the pedals have got master volumes on. You can turn them down. Just to finish off, a quick black with a different guitar maybe, because I would always take 2 guitars.
Yeah, sure.
By the way, if you're confused why the tuner is on there and not plugged in, I just wanted to prove that you can get a tuner on there as well.
Nice.
If you wanted. I haven't plumbed it in, but it's on there.
Nice.
In the eternal search for a small tuner with top-mounted jacks, there it is, the Peterson Strobo Stomp Mini. So just give us a whip through some sounds, and we'll bring this charade to a conclusion.
Okay. Doesn't suck. Yeah.
Virtual calf top, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Amazing. Utterly amazing.
Yeah.
The guitars shine through.
Yeah.
Without any shadow of a doubt.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but there is something about these amps that I just don't hear with the, it's like, it sounds so ridiculous because you can't get these things. And it's like, well, how can you prove it? But I mean, just, we've done this enough to know.
I can tell by your playing.
Yeah.
I can tell by your playing. It is utterly elevated by the sound.
Yeah.
And being in a happy place.
Yeah.
Okay, not quite sure I'm going to follow that, but anyway, let's have a go. Having a bit of a stumble around there.
The amp. So it's a really interesting thing with humbuckers. You get this. It feels different. But
Yeah.
that amp has so much headroom
Yeah.
that you'd play somewhere and you hit it hard, it would just go bang.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's so responsive.
It's so interesting playing a different rig because you're sort of trying to find your way,
Yeah.
trying to find your feet and
Yeah.
all of that. And apologies for the extended blues, but it can take a minute just to go, okay, that's what that's doing, that's what that's what's doing, this is where the feedback is. But I'm pretty pleased with that. I actually prefer this guitar over the Strat probably.
Right.
For that sort of thing. But yeah, killer, man.
Yeah.
Perfectly. I mean, that was loud, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably too loud, but like I say, we've got master volume controls on these pedals so they can come down a bit.
Yeah.
Totally applicable in a...
Oh, you completely make that work.
In a...
No question.
Yeah, in most kind of modern bands, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Just with different choices of pedals. Is it as magic as the amp cranked? No.
But it's a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
You can do a lot more with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Indeed. That's a good one. Yeah, well done, mate. Awesome.
I need to lie down.
Yep.
There you go. 3 vintage amps then. The story of the Bassman will unfold. Wasn't quite happening in a way that we thought it was going to be.
Sure.
So that story will unfold.
Okay.
These two things.
Just magical. Yeah, magical.
Happy
Brilliant.
days.
Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. It helps the channel. It means that we can do more fun stuff like this. Also, massive thanks to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merchandise, t-shirts and strings and hats and variety of garden ornaments and implements. It's important stuff. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support.
Indeed. Those are the ways we keep the show going, and it really does keep us in the game, so thank you so much.
Yep. Massive thanks to our preferred retailers as well. All details in the description below. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on Monday for viewers' comments and questions.
I'm actually done. I'm done.
There we go.
I need to lie down. Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
you're right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.